It was a long shift at the department store where I was working. I was so ready to quit before the shift was even over. I was just sick and tired of these cookie-cutter suburban families coming in bothering me about some project bound to fail. My store sold lumber, metals, faucets, cabinets, and anything for a shelter, interior, exterior. I looked up at the clock to see 11:30, meaning I had about a half hour left in my shift. The store closes at 12, but what those confused DIY shoppers didn't realize is more happens in the last half hour of closing time every night than anything to ever happen from the regular hours of 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Around 11:50, I heard that annoying Lady Kelly over the loudspeakers. 10 minutes until closing. Get your stuff and get to the till. I was excited for the show that was to come. When this storefront closes right at 12, the store comes to life, using the model taps and display mops to clean everything for us and showing us its power through a beautiful light show. As the store closed at 12:02, I could tell something was wrong. I had hit the light switch on and off several times, signaling the store to start, but nothing was happening, when all of a sudden I heard a pipe burst. Then 10. The water was quickly at my feet as I ran through the aisles, yelling Kelly's name, who was closing with me. I never wanted to hear that high-pitched voice call back to me so bad, so we could just get out of here. The indoor display shelters were forming faces and biting at me, as every individual piece of lumber and metal flew by my head, nearly knocking me unconscious. I yelled out Kelly's name one last time as I saw her charging towards me, holding a telephone pole as a battering ram, struggling to get one foot in front of the other, running knee-deep in water. I dove out of the way as she smashed the front door open with it. I then followed her out, just simply pushing the handle on the unlocked door. We stood outside and witnessed the chaos going on in there through the windows, and one of the shelters stared at me with deep regret as the store started to collapse. I was getting really sick and tired of working these late nights serving stinky and greasy fast food. I was working my regular shift at the window when I saw my favorite, well, I'm not sure if that's the right word, maybe the weirdest and most likable customer come to the speaker box in the drive-thru to order. He had a beautiful retro all-black sports car that you could hear coming down the block. I admired it through my monitor as I spoke to him over the intercom. He made his usual jokes about the two of us being night owls and how we both love our vampire hours. He then proceeded to ask me something I wasn't as delighted to hear. He wanted to know if my work crush, Jamie, was there. I said she was off at 2, not that I memorized her weekly schedule or anything. He looked at his white gold watch, reading 1:55, as I gave him his order of patties. That was the other weird thing about this guy. He would come down to my speaker and order the different style beef patties from every burger, with no topping or bun, and raw. He wanted them uncooked, telling us he liked using his stone fire grill at home. As he parked in the lot, assumingly waiting for Jamie, I could swear I saw him eating the raw meat out of that plastic container. That was confirmed when he tossed that lick-clean container in the recycling 30 seconds later. He got back in and closed the door just as Jamie walked out at 2:02 and got in the passenger. The next night, I showed up at 8 p.m. for my regular 8 to 4. I walked into a scene of complete desperation. Jamie passed out on the floor. The paramedics arrived shortly after and put her on a stretcher as she was wheeled out of the restaurant. I noticed her eyes were wide open and all black. She also had a bloody bandage on her neck. The shift went on, and that night, around his regular time, 1 to 2 a.m., he showed up in that stilly sports car. But this time, as I heard his voice over the speaker box, instead of staring at his car on the monitor, I tried looking inside to see him. But the camera shows nothing but an empty interior car. It was another typical Friday night, taking my live animal transportation trailer back to the cleaners, then the front of my truck back to the station. As I made my way to the cleaners, I saw a hitchhiker on the side of the road. I pulled over and told him I was just taking my live animal transportation trailer back to the cleaners on the edge of the city perimeter. "Perfect," he said with a big smile. "There's an express bus stop right by it," I explained to him, as I ruffled through some change with one hand, driving with the other on the wheel. He gladly accepted my donation with an open hand, as he said, "I know a lot about that place, and they know me. I've stood outside there with a sign or two." I quickly realized this guy was one of those voice for the voiceless types. "Really?" I said. "What kind of signs?" I asked, as I stuck my hand into my jumbo bag of beef jerky, taking a monstrous bite, slapping my chops as I chewed. A creepy smile grew across his face as he said, "Those against animal cruelty, saving the lives of animals immediately, and those of fat slob pigs like you over the long term. How's your dried flesh tasting?" "Better than that stinky tofu," I replied. We sat in silence for about 5 minutes, until he reached over me, grabbing my beef jerky bag and putting it over my head, suffocating me with it until I fell unconscious. I woke up to the sounds of metal clanging and wind blowing through my hair as I looked around to see myself hogtied in the back of my truck where the pigs belong.